Mahima here from Guasno Academy. Today we will study the chapter 3, which is atoms and the molecules. In this chapter, we will deeply study about what atoms, how we formed it, what about molecules. These all topics will cover in this lesson. So here, firstly, in the ancient Indian and a Greek philosopher have always wondered about the unknown, unseen form of matter. The idea of divisibility of matter was considered long back. So, around 500 BC, there was an Indian philosopher named as a Maharshi Kanath. They postulated that if we go to dividing the matter, or like matter we say in Hindi as a padarth, okay, we shall get a smaller and the smaller particles. We have one any matter, and when we just divide it in a smaller particles, ultimately the stage will come when we shall come to across to the smallest particle, okay. Like some you have any square shaped thing, and you just break it down as small particle, and one time came when it will be like a smaller particle will be there. So at a one stage, so the smallest particle beyond which the further division will not be possible, so he named these particle as a parmanu. That particular particle name, which is like indivisible at that time, which is known as parmanu. So another Indian philosopher, there was a Katyama, elaborated this a doctrine and said these particles normally exist in a combined form, which gives us various forms of matter. Okay, so around the same era, ancient Greek philosopher was the Democritus and the Lycurgus suggested that if we will go dividing, the matter stage will cover and the particle often cannot be divided further. Okay, so demonstrated that Democritus called this indivisible particle atoms. Here he named it as an atom. It means meaning indivisible. That particular particle which will not be divisible. Okay, named as atom. All this was based on the philosophical consideration and not much experimental work to validate these ideas, and could be done till the 18th century. By the end of this 18th century, the scientists recognized the difference between the element and the compound, and naturally becomes the interested in finding out why the elements combine and what happens when they combine. So there was a Antoine and Lavoisier laid the foundation of chemical sciences by establishing the two important laws of chemical combination. So this is how we named this atom. Now we'll study the laws of chemical combination. So the following two laws of the chemical combination were established after the much experimental by the Lavoisier and Joseph L. Proust. So, law of conservation of mass. So, according to this law, is there any changes in mass when the chemical changes or the chemical reaction takes place? Any chemical changes or reaction is taking place, so is there any change in mass? So, we have an activity, let's find it out. We will have to take the following set as in by of the chemical, X as in copper sulfate, barium chloride, and the lead nitrate, by as in sodium carbonate, sodium sulfate, and the sodium chloride. You'll have to prepare separatively a 5% solution of any one of pair substance listed under X and Y in each 10 ml in the water. Take a little amount of solution of Y in a conical flask and some solution in the X in an ignition tube. So you have to hang the ignition tube in the flask carefully. See that the solution does not get mixed. You have to put the cork in the flask, okay, like this. So this is the cork thread, conical flask, and this a small ignition tube, and the solution X and solution Y. So ignition tube containing the solution of X dipped in the conical flask and containing the solution of Y. So weight of the flask with its content carefully. Now tilt the swirl of the flask so that the solution X and Y get mixed. You'll have to wait again. When you wait it, what happens to the reaction of flask? Do you think the chemical reaction takes place? Why we should put the cork on the mouth of the flask? Does the mass of the flask content changes? So you'll have to verify this. Okay. So this is the law of conservation of mass state that mass can neither be created or not be destroyed in the chemical reaction. Although what we observed in this particular reaction is like whatever the mass was there, it was like neither created nor be destroyed even after the chemical reaction has sweat. So this was the law of conservation of mass. Now second is the law of constant properties. So Lavoisier, along with other scientists, noted that many compounds were composed of two or more elements. Okay, and each compound had a same element in the same proportion, irrespective of where the compound came from and who prepared it. So in the compound, such as like water, or the ratio of mass hydrogen to the mass of oxygen is always 1:8. Whatever the source of the water, thus 9 gram of water is decomposed, 1 gram of hydrogen or 8 gram of oxygen are always obtained similar in the ammonia. Nitrogen and hydrogen are always present in 14:3 mass. So the ratios are given of some compounds where the mass, like whatever the method of the source and which was like from which it is obtained. This is led to that law of constant proportion, which is also known as law of a definite proportion. So here, like we have already only discussed about the proportion. So this is what the law means. Like the constant proportion is also known as the law of a definite proportion. This law was stated by the Proust as what, according to him, is like the statement is like in a chemical substance, the element are always present in a definite proportion by the mass. We have any chemical substance, okay, and in that particular chemical substance, the element are always present in a definite proportion by the mass. Now, the next problem faced by the scientists was to give the appropriate explanation of these laws. Now, the British chemist John Dalton provided the basic theory about the nature of matter. Dalton picked up the idea of a divisibility of matter, which was like till then the philosophy. He took a name of atoms and given by the Greeks and said that the smallest particle of the matter are the atoms. Okay. His theory was based on the law of chemical combination. Dalton's atomic theory provided an explanation of the law, conservation of mass, and the law of definite proportion. So, like after these all things, there one law was like according to the Dalton's atomic theory. He particularly explained both the law of conservation of mass, and another is the definite law of definite proportion. So, introduction about the John Dalton. So, John Dalton was born in the poor weaver family in the 1766 in England, and he began his career as a teacher at the age of the 12, and 7 years later he became a school principal in 1793. Dalton left for the Manchester and teach mathematics, physics and chemistry in the college. He spent most of his life there teaching and researching. In 1808, he presented his atomic theory, which was turning point in the study of matter. According to the Dalton's theory, Dalton's atomic theory, all the matter, whether an element or a compound or a mixture, is composed of small particles called as atom. So what actually according to his theory is like the matter, whether an element or maybe the compound or maybe the mixture, is composed from the smallest particle, and that particular smallest particle is known as atom. So the postulates of this theory may be stated as follows. So the postulates are, first is all the matter is made up of very tiny particles, which is called as atom. Like we have studied matter, whether it is element, compound or mixture, they are just made up of the smallest particle. We call it as an atom, which participate in the chemical reactions. Atom are indivisible particles which cannot be created nor be destroyed in the chemical reaction. And also atom of a given element are identical in the mass and the chemical properties. Atom of the different element have a different masses and the chemical properties. Atom combines in the ratio of a small whole number to form the compound, and the relative number of a relative number in the kind of atoms are constant in the given compound. So these are the important postulates from the Dalton atomic theory. Now, what is atom? Particularly, we have studied that smallest particle, which is indivisible atom. So this is atom, but what exactly it is? So we'll little more study deeply about the atom. So have you ever observed a mason building, walls from these walls, a room, and then a collection of rooms to form a building? What a building of the block is a huge building. What about the building block of an ant hill? It is a small grain of the sand, similarly to the building block of the matter are atoms. Now, how are the big atoms? The size will study. So atoms are very small, as we have already, they're like indivisible. So obviously they're very small, and they are smaller than any thing that we can imagine the compare with. So more than millions of the atoms where the stack would have a one layer very thick as a sheet of paper. Millions will like just combine, then only will get a sheet like paper. Okay. So now the radius of its measured of the nanometer. 1 raised to the power 1 upon 10 raised to the power 9 meter will be equals to 1 nm, and 1 meter is equals to 10 raised to the power 9 nanometer. Okay, now the relative sizes there in the radii only. 10 raised to the power minus 10 atom of hydrogen, 10 raised to the power minus 10 it's a molecule of a water, 10 raised to the power minus 8 it's a molecule of a hemoglobin, 10 raised to the power minus 4 it's a grain of sand. The size is there in radii. Okay, 10 raised to the power minus 3 it's ant, and 10 raised to the power minus 1 is an apple. Now we might think that if atoms are insignificant in the size, why should we care about them? This is because the entire world is made up of the atoms. We will not be able to see them, but they are there. They are like constantly affecting whatever we do. Through the modern techniques, we can produce the magnified image of the atoms, surface elements, showing the atom. See, like this. So this is why we can say that yes, atom also matters. We cannot ignore it. Okay, now what are the modern day symbols atom of the different elements? Let's read it. So these are the symbols. So Dalton was the first scientist to use the symbols for elements in the very specific sense. When he used to give used a symbol for an element, he also meant the definite quantity of that element. That is one atom and that element. Okay, so Berzelius suggested that symbol of the atom to be made one or two letters or the name of element. So he has given the sample for some elements, okay, and these are proposed by the Dalton. So this is the hydrogen, phosphorus, copper, gold, carbon, sulfur, lead, platinum, oxygen, iron, silver, and the mercury. So these are the samples of a few elements. Now, in the beginning of the names of the element were derived from the name of the place where they were found to the first time. Like for example, the name of copper was first taken by the Cyprus. Some names were taken from the specific colors. For example, gold was taken as the English word meaning as a yellow. Nowadays, IUPAC, or with the full form of IUPAC, is International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry, is an international scientific organization which approves the name of element, symbols, and the unit. Many of the symbols are the first of the two letters of element name in English. So the first letter of the symbol is always written to be the capital letter uppercase, and the second letter will be the smaller or lowercase. Now, for example, hydrogen H, aluminum is Al, not Al. So cobalt is CO, it's not CO. So this is what IUPAC approved. Now, symbols of the some elements are formed from the first letter of the name and appearing to be the next. Okay, like chlorine, Cl, zinc, Zn, etc. Other examples have been taken from the element Latin, German, and or a Greek. For example, the symbol of iron is Fe. For its Latin name is ferrum. Sodium is Na. Like Na means from the natrium, potassium is K because it is a kalium. Therefore, each element has the name and the unique chemical symbol. Now, atomic masses. Now, what is atomic mass? So the most of the remarkable concept of the Dalton's atomic theory they proposed was that the atomic mass, according to him, each element had a characteristic atomic mass. The theory could be explained of a constant proportion. So well, the scientists were promoted to prepare to measure atomic mass of an atom. Since determining the mass of an individual atom was a relatively difficult task, so relative atomic masses were determined using the laws of chemical combination and the compound formed. So let us take an example of a compound, carbon monoxide, which is CO, formed by the carbon and the oxygen. So it was observed experimentally. Then 3 gram of a carbon combines with a 4 gram of a oxygen to it will form CO. In other words, carbon combines with a 4 by third time of the mass of oxygen, so that we can define the atomic mass of the unit earlier and abbreviate to be AMU. But according to the IUPAC, it is now usually written as a U, which means unified mass, and as equals to the mass of the one carbon that we would assign the carbon, and atomic masses and atomic mass number will be 1.33, and however it is a more convenient to have these numbers. Okay, is a whole number. So there is a symbol for an element. You just read it out like aluminum Al, argon it's Ar, barium is Pa, barium is P, bromine is Br, calcium is Ca, and carbon is C, chlorine is Cl, cobalt is Co, copper is Cu, fluorine is F, gold is Au, hydrogen is H. So these are some elements along with their symbols. Now, according to this atomic mass, where the whole numbers near to the whole number as possible, while searching the various atomic mass units, scientists initially took 1/16 of the mass of atom naturally occurring to the oxygen as a unit. So this was considered relevant due to the two reasons. First is oxygen reacted with a large number of elements and formed a compound. Second is this atomic mass was unit was gave masses to the most of the element as a whole number. So however, in 1961, for the universally accepted atomic mass unit, carbon is 12 isotope was chosen as a standard reference and measuring the atomic masses. One atomic mass unit mass is equals to the 1/12 of the mass of an atom. Okay, and the carbon 12 relative atomic mass of an element have been found with respect to the atom of carbon 12. So imagine a fruit seller selling the fruit, okay, without any standard weight with him. So he takes the watermelon and says that this has a mass equals to the 12 unit, means 12 watermelon unit or a 12 fruit of mass unit. So he makes the 12 equal pieces of the watermelon and finds the mass of the fruit selling. So relative to the mass of one piece watermelon, how he sells his fruit by the relative to the mass, which is FMU. Like see, this is a watermelon, another 12 pieces one, and then this will be equals to this. So this is how the atomic mass is like. First in the watermelon, second it is having 12 pieces. Now 1 by 12 of the watermelon, and then the fourth one, how the fruit seller can weight the using the pieces of an watermelon. So similarly, the relative atomic mass of an atom is element defined as an average mass of an atom compared to the 1 by the 12th of a mass atom of the carbon 12 atom. Now the atomic masses in the few elements. Hydrogen is 1, carbon is 12, nitrogen is 14, oxygen is 16, sodium is 23, magnesium is 24, sulfur is 32, chlorine is 35.5, calcium is 40. Now, how do atom exist? We have studied atom, we have studied atomic mass, but now how do atom exist? So, atom of the most element are not able to exist independently. Atom form molecules and ions. These molecules or ions aggregate in the last number to form the matter that we can feel or touch. Now, what is molecule? A molecule is is in a general or a group of two more atoms that are chemically bonded together and that is tightly held together with the attractive forces. So this is like one molecule. A molecule can be defined as the smallest particle of an element or a compound that is capable of an independent existence and shows all the properties of a substance. Atom of the same element and different elements can join together to form a molecule. So this is what molecule means. Molecules of an element. So the molecules of an element are constituted by the same type of atoms. Molecules of many elements like such as argon, this helium, H, and are made up of one or two only two atoms, one atom of that element. But this is not the case with the most of the non-metals. Like for example, a molecule of an oxygen consists of two atoms of an oxygen and hence it is known as a diatomic molecule. Means like O2. If three of the atom unit molecule instead of the two usual, we get a ozone O3. So the number of atom constituting the molecule is known as atomicity. Here 2, then it's oxygen. If it is 3, then it is the ozone. So this particular number of atoms constituting the molecules, it is known as atomicity. So metals and some of the other metals such as carbon do not have a simple structure but consist of a very large number, indefinite number atoms bonded together. So let us look the atomicity of some non-metals like argon, it's monoatomic, or like one atom is there. Helium, it's one atom, two monoatomic. Oxygen, it's diatomic. Hydrogen is diatomic because two atom. Nitrogen is di, chlorine is diatomic. Phosphorus is tetraatomic. Sulfur is polyatomic, 4 and then 5. So this is how like atomicity means. Now the molecule of a compound. Molecule of element we have studied, now molecule of compound. So atom of a different element join together in a different proportion to form the molecules of a compound. Few examples are given like C. Water is the compound H2O combining elements of hydrogen and oxygen. So the ratio will be 1:8. Ammonia NH3 means nitrogen and hydrogen will be there and the ratio will be 14:3. Carbon dioxide it's CO2 means carbon and oxygen is there. It means 3:8. Now one activity is there. You will have to refer the table. It's like 3.4 table for the ratio of the mass here. The ratio of the mass that represent the molecule. 3.2 of the mass and find the ratio by the number. And element of the molecules, the number of the ratio water molecules you'll have to follow like this. Okay, so this is the activity. Now, what is an ion? So compound composed of metals and the non-metals contain the charge species. So the charge species is known as ion. What is ion? So the charge species is known as ion. Ion may consist of a single charge atom or a group of atoms that have a net charge on them. An ion can be negative or the positively charged. A negatively charged ion is known as anion. Just keep in mind the negative charge is anion and the positive charge will be the cation. You'll have to take an example of in sodium chloride like NaCl. It is a constituent of the particle. Sodium means Na plus and negatively charged Cl minus. So the group of the carrying charge is known as a polyatomic ion. Okay. So there is some ionic compounds in this table. Ionic compound calcium oxide constituting element will be calcium and the oxygen. Ratio is 5:2. Then magnesium sulfide, magnesium and then sulfur, the ratio will be 3:4. Sodium chloride and then sodium and then chlorine, it's 23:35.5. So now writing the chemical formula. The chemical formula of a compound is in symbolic representation of its composition. The chemical formula, different compound can be written easily. For this exercise, we need to learn the symbol of the combining capacity of elements. Obviously, like we should know how we can represent H, how we can represent chlorine, fluorine, etc. So the combined power of a capacity of an element is known as valency, and the valency can be used to find out how the atoms of an element will combine the atom of another element to form a chemical compound. So the valency of an atom element can be hands on the arms of this atom. Human beings have two arms of an octopus and as an 8. Okay, so if one octopus had to catch the hold and a few people in a such manner that all the 8 arms of an octopus are both arm of the humans are locked. So how many humans do you think octopus can hold? So represent the octopus with the O and the humans with the H. So you'll have to define or write the formula like O and then H4. Is 4, O's value is 1. So the subscript 4 indicate that the number of hand human and by the octopus. So the balances of the some common ion are given by the given in this particular table 3.6. We'll learn more about it. Like see, sodium Na plus, potassium is K plus, silver is Ag plus, copper is Ca plus, then non-metallic item, then it's their symbol. So this is the table in the symbols of some ions. Now, the rules that you have follow while writing the chemical formula are as follows. How you can write any chemical formula? Firstly, the balances of the charge of the ion must be balanced. Okay, we cannot all of a sudden write the formulas. It should be balanced. Second is when the compound consists of the metal and a non-metal, the name of the symbol metal is written first. For example, calcium, so it should be Ca. Sodium chloride, then it should be NaCl. Iron sulfide, then it should be Fes. And then copper oxide, it should be CuO. Also, where oxygen, chlorine, sulfur and the non-metals are written on the right, whereas the calcium, sodium, iron and the copper metals are written as in on the left. So, in compounds formed with the polyatomic ions, the number of the ion present in the compound indicated by enclosing the formula of ion and a bracket and writing the number of ions outside the bracket. So, like see here, Mg, then OH and then whole twice. So, in such case, number of polyatomic ion is 1. So, the bracket is not required. For example, like NaOH. If it is 1, then it's fine. But if it is 2, then bracket is required. So, this is how you can write the chemical formulas. Now, form of a formula of a simple compound. So this is particular like important topic. The simplest compound which is made up of two different elements are called as a binary compound. Okay, any compound is there, but it is made up of two different elements. Okay, and that is known as a binary compound. Valencies of some ions are given like we have already studied in the table 3.6. You can use to write the formula. While writing the formula, chemical formula for the compounds, we write the constituent element and their valencies to show below. Okay, like how we can write it. Then we can cross over the balances. Formula for the hydrogen chloride. So, firstly, the symbol. We know hydrogen H, chlorine is Cl. Valency is 1, ClCl. So, formula will be HCl. Second is formula for the hydrogen sulfide. It means H and then S. Hydrogen is S, sulfide is valency is 1 and then it's 2. So, we'll just crisscross over it, then H2 and then S. So, the formula will be H2S. Formula for the carbon tetrachloride. So, carbon is C, it's fine. Chloride is C, it's fine. Then Cl, valency of carbon is 4 and then it's 1. So, it will be CCl4. For the magnesium chloride, we write the symbol like Mg2+, and first followed the symbol of the Cl, and their charge are the crossed in their formula. So, Mg and then Cl. Mg it's 2+, Cl it's 1-, then Mg, Cl2. So, thus in the magnesium chloride, there are 2 chloride ion which is Cl-. For each magnesium, it's Mg2+. The positive and the negative charges must balance each other and overall structure must be neutral. So, note that the formula, the charges on the ions are indicated. So, this is how you can write a formula of a simple compounds. Some more examples are there. Formula for the aluminum oxide. So, symbol is Al and then O. So, charge is 3+ and then 2-. So, we'll write it as Al2 and then O3. Formula for the calcium oxide, it's Ca and then O. Ca, it's 2+, O, it's 2-. When discover it, then CaO2. Okay. So, here the balances of our two elements same, and you may also arrive the formula for the CaO2, but we simply write it as a CaO. Formula for the sodium nitrate, it will be NaNO3. Like formula for the calcium hydroxide, it will be like symbol Ca and then OH, then Ca1-, and then OH is 2+. So, CaOH2. Now note that the formula of the calcium hydroxide is CaOH2. It's not CaOH2. Okay, we use the brackets when we have a two or more than same ions in the formula. So here the bracket of OH is means the subscript 2 indicates the 2 hydroxyl OH. Okay, and joint calcium atom. In other words, there are the two atom oxygen and hydrogen in the calcium hydroxide. Now the formula for the sodium carbonate, it's Na and then CO3. Na it's 2 minus and then CO3 it's 1. So Na2CO3. In our formula, brackets are not added if there are only the one ion present. Like the formula of ammonium sulfate, it's NH4 and then 2 minus and SO4 then 1. Okay. Now molecular mass. In the section 3.22, we discussed the concept of an atomic mass. The concept can be extended to the molecular mass. So the molecular mass of the substance is sum of atomic masses of all the atoms in a molecule of a substance. So it is therefore relative to the mass of the molecules present its atomic mass unit U. Like we have an example, calculate the relative molecular mass of H2O. Second is calculate the molecular mass of HNO3. So atomic mass of hydrogen, we know it's 1U. For oxygen, it's 16. The mass, okay, atomic mass. So the solution, so the molecular mass of the water which contains hydrogen and oxygen is like 2 into 1. It's 2 into 1 plus 1 into 16 because 2H2. So we'll get 18U. So the molecular mass of HNO3 will be is equals to the mass of atomic mass of H and atomic mass of N plus 3 into atomic mass of O, means 1 plus 14 plus 48. So it will be 63U. So this is how we calculate the relative molecular mass. Now the formula of unit mass. The formula unit mass of the substance is just the sum of atomic masses of a atom of formula and unit compound. Formula unit mass is calculated in the same manner as we calculated the molecular mass. So the only difference is that we use the word formula unit for those substances whose constituent particles are ion. For example, sodium chloride NaCl. It means valency 1, then into molecular mass 23 plus 1, it will be 58.5. So this is how we have calculated the molecular mass. Now, in this particular chapter, what we have learned? So we have learned during the chemical reaction, the sum of a masses of the reactant and the product remains unchanged. Okay, because like firstly, we have studied the atom. What actually atom is? It is indivisible. We cannot divide atoms at particular state. So this particular particle is known as atom. And that part also we have studied that the chemical in any chemical reaction, the sum of masses of the reactant and the product, it will totally remain unchanged even although after the chemical reaction. So this particular law, like when the mass is conserved, it's neither created nor destroyed. Then particular thing is known as conservation of mass. Okay, second point is in the pure chemical compound, elements are always present in a definite proportion. So like two elements are present and they will always be in the definite proportion. And this particular law is known as the law of a definite proportion. Okay. Third is an atom is the smallest particle, okay, of an element that cannot usually exist. Atom we have and it is like a smallest particle. We have already decided that atom is the smallest particle and that cannot be usually exist independently and retain all chemical properties. Fourth is a chemical molecule is the smallest particle of an element or a compound capable of an independent existence and under ordinary condition. It shows the properties of the substance. Atom we have studied. But second, we have studied the molecule and it shows some properties of existence as well. Now, next is a chemical formula of a compound shows its constituent element and the number of atom of each combining elements. Cluster of atom that act as an ion is known as a polyatomic and ions, they carry the fixed charge on them. Next is the chemical formula of a molecular compound is determined by the valency of each element. After studying the atomic like atom and the molecule, we have studied the chemical formula for the molecular compounds, okay, and the valency, how we can write the chemical formula and all. After that, like in ionic compounds, the charge on each ion is used to determine the chemical formula of the compound. And also by writing the chemical formula, how we can write it in a balanced way, the crisscross method, the valency, their atomic mass, and after that only we can conclude with the chemical formula. So this is all about the chapter. Like we have studied about the atoms, we have studied about the molecules, the chemical formula, the molecular mass, the atomic mass, how we can write any chemical equation, the balance, the balancing thing, the formula for the simple compounds, okay, so a molecule of the compound and their like the ratio as well as we have studied. So this is all about this chapter. But still, if you have any doubts or you want a teacher to guide you personally, you can join our one-to-one live tutoring at Guasna Academy. We will help you to learn every concept with the ease. So thanks for watching. Just stay tuned for the next chapter, chapter number 3. That will study more about the chapter. So thank you. Thanks for the watching.